This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the, what is today, Tuesday?
Tuesday, yes.
The Tuesday edition of A's Cast Live. Before we send it over to Johnny and Chris, and then before you know it, we will have A's Cast on NBC Sports California, and then we're going to have Jeffrey Springs going up against his old team. I love how they did the tribute yesterday. Thank you, Jeffrey Springs, for all the memories. It's always nice when teams do that. And Shane Boz is going to be going for the Rays as the Athletics. That game yesterday, that was an awesome game. And there was so many things to dissect from yesterday's game. But the thing that I really looked at the most, I mean, obviously, Colby Thomas, who I can't stop calling Colby Lewis because of calling all those Ranger games. The throw, I mean, an opportunity of a lifetime for you to come into a game and just to show you, because we interviewed him in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
During Big League weekend. To come into a game and to be balls out like that is something you don't see a lot from anybody when they make their debut. I don't care what sport you're in. Because usually when you make your debut, you're kind of out there. You're trying to get your footing. You don't want to screw up. You're super nervous. Him coming all out reminded me so. Who did he remind you of?
You talking about an A's player?
Yes.
Eric Burns.
It was like Eric Burns reincarnated. He comes in. He's do or die. If he doesn't make that play, it hits off of him. Who knows where it goes or if it gets behind him. It's a do or die play. He makes the play, gets it on one hop. Everything he's got. Everything. And he just tumbles over, makes the throw. It was absolutely spectacular. Then you have Lawrence Butler with the big hit into left center where both their outfielders took extremely bad routes and turned a double into a triple. But the thing that I think most about, and we're going to have Jack Perkins on today, and Jack Perkins is in this role. And it's a role that means a lot to me because I know what it's like at a very lower level to do this role. Somebody's got to come in and eat the middle innings up when your starter doesn't go deep. Jacob Lopez had a perfect game for 3 1/3 and then couldn't get anybody out. So you go to the bullpen and you bring in JT Ginn. And by the way, Jack Perkins is going to join us right here today on A's Cast Live. You bring in JT Ginn and you say, I don't need you to get us out of this inning. I need you to get us deep into the game. I need you to keep it right here and give us an opportunity to still win this game. After you got a 3-run shot right out of the gate from Shea Langoliers, first at bat back from the IL, that's awesome. You give up your 4-0 lead, 4-4. You got to keep it here. And we've talked a lot about this, about tandem starts. What do you see down the minor leagues now? Because once again, we're not developing relievers. We got a bunch of starters, and if you fail as a starter, then we turn you into a reliever. But what we're doing now is we want to see as many starters get as much work as possible, so we do tandem starts. All right, Cody, today it's Tuesday, July 1st. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. All right, Bobby Bonilla got his 1 point whatever million. Good for Bobby Bo. I'd give you a good Bobby Bo story back when he was with the Marlins, and that would be the Florida Marlins. and I was at Candlestick Park, and how he rose up on me and Larry Krueger. It was great. All right. So today's July 1st. You're going to throw 4. I'm going to come in after you throw 4. And then we like to still have guys we think can be closers. So he'll go the 9th inning. Or it's 3-3, 4-3, however they want to do it. We see tandem starts in the minor leagues. So if that's how we're training guys, why bring them up and have them do something different? Why not keep that rolling? And right now the A's for a little bit are having success with that. And the thing that bugs me the most happened to the Rays. What happened to the Rays last night?
They used a bunch of relievers.
It was a law firm game. It was a law firm game. Here comes all the relievers, one after another, one after another, one after another. And it was our old buddy Pete Fairbanks was the one guy, their closer, who gave it up. That's what happens when you do a bunch of one-inning guys. It takes one guy to have a bad night.
Which is crazy because back in the day, I remember looking this up before and I wanted to make sure. The Rays still lead the American League in innings pitched from their starting pitchers, which years ago, that never was a thing. It was openers and the law firm games, and now they're doing it. But yeah, last night, multiple guys come in because their guy didn't go deep either, Rasmussen. And I get it. He's had 3 major elbow surgeries, and you want to protect him. And he's pitched well this year. But
he wasn't throwing great.
Yeah, so you go to the law firm game, and that's kind of what bit him at the end because they used too many guys.
What bit us earlier this season?
Using too many guys?
It'd be one guy.
Yeah, the bullpen.
This would be the night Sterner didn't do well, or it'd be the night Ferguson didn't do well, or it'd be the night Holman didn't do well. And then all of a sudden you see, well, our run differential in the 8th inning is out of control. It's because one guy would have a bad night and the game would get out of control. So why not go for the more, what we're calling it now, tandem system? You're going to start, and then we're bringing another starter in after you, and we're going to get you going, and you get into a rhythm, and you give us 3 innings. Worked again last night. It is a super valuable role. Sean Newcomb can do it. Jack Perkins, we know, can do it. JT Ginn can do it. It seems like a pretty good recipe for a team that had the worst bullpen in baseball, because you're trying to incorporate all of these one-inning guys that you've now – Sterner is back, but you send him down. TJ McFarland's been DFA'd. Holman's down. Ferguson's down. How do you get the ball to Mason Miller? To me, the best way, give me 2 starters, bring in Mason Miller, 3 pitchers, and call it a night.
Yeah, and both Perkins and Ginn.
Now, we didn't have that because Lopez only went 3 1/3, so you had to have Kelly come in. Kelly can also give you multiple innings. But you have a bunch of relievers down there that can give you multiple innings.
Speaking of Kelly, we're thinking about what guy in the bullpen has been good so far this year. Michael Kelly has been probably the best guy. I mean, he's a small sample size, but we were trying to figure out who was the best guy in the bullpen. I completely forgot Michael Kelly because all the other guys have been either sent down or DFA. But Perkins and JT Ginn are both 2 guys that came up through the system where the tandem starting was a thing in Stockton, I believe. So they, at least Perkins for sure would have done there. I don't know how many starts Ginn had in Stockton, but that's something they were doing there. So the tandem starting is a thing that could work because that's kind of what teams are doing now in the minor leagues, that train a lot of their starters.
Well, if I train you at your job, don't I want you to do what I trained you to do?
Yeah.
Or would it be maybe not the smartest thing to do is to train you to do something and then ask you to do something completely different?
Yeah, that's where you have problems.
That's where it's like, what I just said makes total sense, right?
Yes.
But in baseball, we don't do those types of things. We're going to train you in the minor leagues to do one thing, then we're going to bring you up in the big leagues, and you're going to do something completely different.
Hey, kid, we want you to throw 2 innings in the minor leagues. Hey, kid, we need you to go 6 today. It doesn't matter how many runs you give up. We need you to go.
It's just insane. It's like we really don't train relievers. Guys just stumble into relieving because they become failed starters. But look at the success that we're the little. I'm not saying it's a lot of success. I'm not trying to oversell this, but Jeffrey Springs. What am I going to get out of Springs tonight?
You're hoping. I mean, since May 1st, he's been pretty solid.
What am I going to get?
Well, the big indicator for him is the first 3 innings.
What am I? You're like Shooty Babbitt. You don't want to answer the question. What am I going to get?
You don't know.
Maybe 5, maybe 6. Well, who's going to get to Mason Miller?
Well, not JT again now because you used him last
Well,
night.
I got Jack Perkins.
Yeah, you can use Perkins tonight.
Right? That's the thing. It's like if I've got these guys that can go multiple innings and you let them come into the game and develop a rhythm, starters get into a rhythm and they can get outs and they give you multiple innings, we're getting away from the 1 inning guys. I like this strategy because the other strategy, guess what, wasn't working. So you saw it last night with JT again. We're gonna have Jack Perkins on. You know, these guys may be starters long term. We know Dave Stewart likes them as starters, but guess what? This is where we are right now. The way you were doing it led to the worst bullpen in baseball. The way you're doing it now gives you an opportunity to win. Because I don't think anybody in the rotation all of a sudden is going to start being 7-8 innings. I mean, the guy just paid $67 million is bitching about air conditioning. I mean, I'm not expecting much here. I'm going to need tandem starting. And by the way, the media, unfortunately, and I don't blame them, right? We're seeing it from the New York Times. We're seeing it MLB Network. We saw it today on MLB Now. The issue for Luis Severino and air conditioning is that when he comes back to the dugout, he can't walk into a clubhouse and be in air conditioning. They tried. They didn't understand it. They were basically on MLB Now acting like there wasn't air conditioning in the clubhouse.
Yeah. Yes.
No, there's plenty of air conditioning in the clubhouse. The clubhouse is in left field. So now the narrative is changing. It's like that game where you tell somebody a secret and then you keep telling the person down that you got like 10 people, and how the story changes as you go from one person to another because the secret changes the narrative. Like, you know, people have narratives and how they want to tell it, but eventually from the start to the last person, the story's different.
Yeah.
That's where we are right now. Now you got people thinking, oh, there's no air conditioning in the clubhouse. No, it's the fact that he can't go from the dugout walk in. Most big league stadiums you can walk from, and even this stadium in Tampa, you can go to the clubhouse from the dugout.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, but yeah, MLB Now was talking about like how was the air conditioning.
The air conditioning in the clubhouse.
Yeah, not.
It's like, oh God, they don't, and it's not totally their fault because nobody's really coming out and going, okay, what exactly are we talking about here? And then Severino's not really, I mean, he's kind of doing it, but he's just not. And it's after the game. It's in the clubhouse. I mean, there's a lot of questions that just should be asked of Luis Severino. Well, and I know Dave Stewart's not thrilled about it, and he got cut off because of a phone call and messed his phone up yesterday. You joked with him, and for Stu said it was probably better for him that he got cut off because he was starting to get fired up about it. I mean, because obviously Dave Stewart doesn't want to hear excuses. But, you know, the question is, was it just about getting a certain number, a dollar amount? Because if you got the dollar amount, you didn't care with who, you just wanted it. John Heyman on the same show that they were talking about the air conditioning, and they were wrong about the air conditioning, was talking about how the Mets were like at $40 million, and then they didn't want to do the deal. And then all of a sudden here's $67 million. So it was all about so it sounds more like it was all about the number, and we'll figure it out later.
Yeah. And
for Luis Severino.
And that's kind of what we come down to. And now we're hearing about all the complaints about pitching at home. But as they mentioned on MLB Now, and we've mentioned, and you've mentioned, and everyone's mentioned about, it's not just at home. He's pitched poorly on the road the last few starts too. I mean, his ERA now is over 3. But
last year his ERA on the road was 5.
Yeah, it was not like he was always a good road starter. So quickly before we get to Dewayne Staats, the television voice of the race, will be joining us shortly.
Legendary broadcaster.
Ace fans, your shortstop Jacob Wilson is a finalist in All-Star voting, and the race is super close. He needs you to help him cross the finish line. The final phase of voting is officially live and ends tomorrow, July 2nd at 9 a.m. Visit athletics.com/all-star to cast your votes. You can only vote one time per day on the official Pro Spirit MLB All-Star ballot. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Jacob Wilson to lock in his starting spot in Atlanta. That's athletics.com/all-star to get him in the game in Atlanta. He will not be in the game tonight. Woke up with a sore hamstring. might be out tomorrow, according to Martin Gallegos of MLB.com, because it's 9:10 a.m. East Pacific time zone start there in Tampa, Florida. So no Jacob Wilson tonight, but go vote for him for the All-Star game. Ends tomorrow, 9 a.m. athletics.com/all-star.
Well, that's not good. He's not in the lineup?
No. According to Martin,
Did that just come out?
Yeah. Well, Jacob Wilson was scratched from tonight's A's lineup due to right hamstring soreness. Kotze said Wilson woke up feeling sore this morning, could also get tomorrow off with a 9:10 start on Thursday. 9:10 start and Thursday off day. So we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
So Schumann will bat ninth and play short. Denzel Clark gets moved up to eighth playing center field. Look who's in left field.
Colby Thomas starting today.
Colby Thomas is going to get his first start out in left field.
Well, Kotze said you have to earn opportunities, and I think he earned one at the throw in left field last night.
Well, the issue is going to be long-term is how you get the bats into the lineup. And that really is going to be, okay, can Denzel Clark hit at the big league level or not? And then if he can, who's going to play center field? That's going to be, do we have Dewayne?
Yeah.
That will be the big question. Well, he is one of our all-time favorites, and you want to talk about one of the great broadcasting careers in baseball. Started with the Houston Astros in 1977, worked for the Astros, the Cubs, the Yankees, ESPN, and he's been with the Rays ever since day one. Dewayne Staats is with us once again here on A's Cast Live. It has been a while. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's great to be back with you. It has been a while.
How often do you just sit back and you're just marvel at the fact that you've seen everything from the Devil Rays to the Rays? There's been incredible runs. There's been chaos, but you've seen everything. You have to be very proud.
I'll tell you, actually, what I've done all these years is avoid working. I mean, it's the greatest thing. What a scam I've got going here all these years. You go to the ballpark and show up, you do a little homework, and you do a game, and you go home and then do it again the next day. I can't think of a better routine.
Well, I just think about, everybody makes decisions in their career. You were going from the Yankees to ESPN. We'd see on ESPN. So all of a sudden going, you know what? I'll go to St. Petersburg. I'll broadcast Rays games. There's a leap of faith there. Like, you don't know how it's going to work. And to think all these years, you're still doing it.
You're absolutely right about that. What I found out is I love doing a game every day. I broke in with Houston, then went to the Cubs. And as a young guy, I got a chance to do games every day, a lot of play-by-play there, a lot of innings. Went to the Yankees and then to ESPN. And when I took the Yankee job, I moved to Florida. So I've been here for a long, long time. And then commuted with Espen. And when they got the franchise in Tampa Bay, it was a perfect fit for me. I could be home every day, do a game, and enjoy, the state, which we love it here. Families here. I have 3 grandchildren who are literally 10 minutes from where we are. So I couldn't ask for a better setup.
Do the grandkids watch you on TV?
They do. I have two grandsons, and they play the game. Of course, their dad was Dan Wheeler.
Yeah.
So, they had to pitch, and one of them's a right-hander and one's a left-hander, and 2 different personalities and 2 different approaches. And our granddaughter really runs the show over there. She, in her own understated way, I think makes her presence felt. She's a dancer and probably, without question, the best athlete in our extended family.
Well, all these years watching the Rays, when you have success, you're going to have different leaders of the franchise. You're going to have different managers. You're going to have different players. But it doesn't matter the combination of baseball ops to manager. There's something about the Rays that no matter what, they overcome. I don't know what it is. I know when we would see them and they would come, like we'd see them in Oakland, that I'd watch them pay more attention to defense than any other team. There's something, I don't know what it is, but there's been a lot of different leaders, a lot of different people What is it about Rays baseball that they always find a way to overcome, be competitive, and right now in the thick of it, once again, in the AL East?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think they really changed the nature of how teams approach the game now. We all grew up in our traditional sense of how the game's to be played, and in all my stops along the way and growing up, it was like that. And even here in Tampa Bay, when Larry Rothschild was a manager and Chuck Lamar, who had a great player development and scouting background, but when the ball club was sold and Stu Sternberg took charge of this club, brought in a different mindset. Matt Silverman is still here. Andrew Friedman was here, now with the Dodgers, and I think he carried some of that out there with him. When you put that kind of approach and Dodgers money together, you've got a pretty good chance to be successful. And I really think that's what they've done here. There's a lot of homework. Nothing is out of bounds in terms of, here's an idea, why don't we examine that? They have people here, staff members who come and go, but you see them a couple times and then you don't see them for 4 or 5 months. But they're doing something. Obviously, they're making evaluations on talent up and down the system, amateur talent, and as you know, there have been a number of individuals from the front office here that other clubs have attempted to duplicate their magic and gave them front office jobs. So I really have to give, the Stu Sternberg, and it started with Andrew Friedman, Eric Neander's here in that role now, and they are amazing with things they come up with. For an example, this year and all the seasons before, this club, pioneered the opener. And they're a guy pitch an inning and 2/3, and then they'd bring in, another guy. Well, this year, for some reason, their starting pitchers are going deeper than any other team in the major leagues. So they're relying on the starters. They're giving them free rope to go out there and pitch almost as long as they want. And they're being successful with that. Now, figure that. It's an exact opposite approach, but these people make it work.
Speaking of the opener, we're doing all the stuff, all of our TV and everything here in San Francisco at the studios at NBC. Sergio Romo this week is doing Giants pre and post game live on NBC. So we saw him here as we were crossing paths doing our A's cast and our pregame show on NBC. So the opener, Sergio Romo, definitely one of the guys. You know what? It makes me think of this. Most human beings, they hate change. We hate change. And like my wife's a teacher and her principal's leaving and she's like freaked out about it. People hate change. Maybe the secret of success is the fact that Tampa has always been able to roll with change. It doesn't affect you. You always keep the ship going forward, because I don't know what the secret sauce is. You've changed a lot of different people. There's constantly guys being poached from your organization. There's always player movement. But if you embrace change, great things can happen.
Well, I don't want to get too esoteric here about all of that. But, the human condition is adaptability. That's how and why we are where we are, for better or worse, good or bad. It's adaptability. And I really think if you burn the midnight oil, and these people do, and they're not afraid to go places and attempt things and run the model and go through it. And so I think change, if you're not changing, you're probably standing still and losing a little ground. And I think it's an ever-evolving situation. At least it has been with this franchise.
All right. Well, our broadcasters said yesterday, being there for the first time at Steinbrenner Field, they said the energy was electric. It's a Monday night. A's are in town. We're not that good of a ballpark, but they said they were really impressed with the energy, the crowd. How are things going with, speaking of change, going from the Trop in St. Petersburg to Tampa to Steinbrenner Field?
Well, couple of things. I love the atmosphere here. We'll open our broadcast booth windows, and the fans are literally right out there, which is great. And for the most part, they've been capacity crowds here of somewhere between 10 and 11,000, not quite 11. And the electricity of that, and the idea of, I spent all that time at the Astrodome in Houston and in the Trop here, but it's great being outdoors. I love the energy of that, and we have enjoyed it here. So we'll see what happens.
Do you miss the Astrodome at all? Was it the eighth wonder of the world?
Listen, I think it's still the eighth wonder of the world. It's still there.
Yeah.
And they not only had baseball games there, but football and the rodeo and all of those things. And it's right now it's pretty static, and I can't believe it's an iconic, from an architectural point of view, it's an iconic building. So I hope that Houston will do something with that. We still have roots over there. My wife is from there. We have a little place up north on Lake Conroe, and we spent some time there visiting family and friends. But I love the Astrodome. I thought it was one of the greatest buildings of all time.
When I worked for the Oakland Raiders, we went to play the Texans there. When you pulled up to Reliant Stadium, you couldn't believe how huge the new football stadium was compared to the Astrodome. Because when I was a kid, when you saw the Astrodome on TV, you thought it's the greatest and biggest building you've ever seen. So really interesting. Hey, thank you so much for the time. Tell the left-hander next to you that we said hello. Your guys' TV broadcast is.
He's going to say hello himself.
The great Brian Anderson. How are you? It's good to see you. You guys keep doing what you're doing, because you're second to none in baseball, and we're always watching here out on the West Coast. You be well. We'll talk to you later in the season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
The great Dewayne Staats right here on A's Cast Live. You want to talk about a unbelievable career in broadcasting and in baseball broadcasting, what he's done, like I said, from the Astros to the Cubs, Yankees, ESPN, and now been with the Rays ever since. And Brian Anderson won a World Series with the D-backs back in the day. We love having all the Rays guys on there. I wish we played them more. All right, coming up next, where are we going next? Johnny D. Are we doing hot take? You got a hot take? Yeah. You got a better hot take than last week, because your hot take last week was terrible.
No, last week was Rooker in the home run derby and All-Star.
Well,
the All-Star
2 weeks ago
could still happen. Yeah, the Devers one, yes.
How's that working? How's the
well, Red Sox are doing okay, and Giants not so much.
Really? The Red Sox are
Giants are
all those young guys you said were going to be great. They haven't been great yet.
Oh, the WRC play.
How the Giants doing?
At 45-40.
How about that? How about the home run that got robbed last night? Here's my question that I have for all Giants fans. Because I got out of doing post-game show last night, 833-625-2278, taking your phone calls. And I come walking out here at NBC, and all the Giants fans are livid that a home run was called back and called an out because a D-backs fan had a glove, caught the home run, interfered. I guess this guy's done it 4 straight years, so he brings his glove to the game. But Mike Krukow, Giants broadcaster, has always said, bring your glove to the game, get a ball. He's always encouraged this. So how can you be mad?
Yeah, John Boy shared it 4 times that this has happened. The same guy, looks like 4 times has happened. That's what people have been saying. So,
all right, we got information finally on Miguel Andujar, because we hadn't heard about him in a long time. All right, so we'll address this. We got hot takes, and then Jack Perkins. Can't wait to have the Indiana Hoosier Jack Perkins will join us right here on A's Cast Live.
A's assistant general manager Billy Owens joined Towny and Shooty on the show and shared his player comparison for Jacob Wilson.
I played against Derek Jeter in the minor leagues. Derek Jeter and Jacob Wilson, they were both the 6th overall pick of the Major League Draft. 6'3", lithe build, going to fill out, innate hand-eye coordination, kind of that all shucks but serious demeanor, focused. I mean, it's a unique skill set, and playing against the captain Derek Jeter, pretty much his whole minor league career. It's 2 or 3 years, but played against him every step of his journey in the minor leagues, and it's 30 years apart. But I played against one of those guys up close and personal. Saw his father, Jack, play a lot. Jacob Wilson reminds me of Derek Jeter.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
That ball is out of here.
For just $25, fans can sit in the general admission outfield grass for all regular season home games. Tickets for that day's game will open up daily at 9 a.m. for purchase at athletics.com/lawn. Sign up to receive A's alerts to receive a text the first morning of each home series as a reminder. For more information, visit athletics.com/lawn. A's closer Mason Miller joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live ahead of opening day to discuss the thrill of closing out games for the Athletics.
You always like that juice. I mean, in college, it would be you'd have to go a complete game starter to get to it. But, there's nothing that beats that feeling of getting the final out of the game, high-fiving all your teammates and getting into the locker room with a win. So, I've liked the big moment. I've liked it. I think I've been able to keep it pretty even head about it, though, and I think that helps me have more success in that role, that I don't get too high or too low. I just know that if I get 3 outs, I got the job done. It doesn't have to be pretty. I don't have to be perfect, but it's you either got it done or you didn't, and I think there's something liberating in that.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
Have you noticed that Nate the Great is back from Tahoe and has not mentioned once about his winnings?
I have not even know he's in Tahoe. I just got a text that I'm back today. It's like Michael Jordan returning. I'm back.
I mean, if he would have won big, I have a feeling he would have notified us.
I got him all fired up about the Kings, so that's why he's.
Oh, how'd our Kings do in free agency?
Dennis Schroeder.
The guy with the colored hair who used to be a Pacer and then a Warrior, and then who else he played for?
Blaker, and wherever the Warriors traded him. Yeah, that same guy.
Who else?
Hawk, yeah. And then Dario Saric.
Who
got drafted in the first round 11 years ago.
Who? He's bringing how many? His 3 points a game?
That's what he did last year. 3 points with the old Nuggets. Well, they had Jokic. So.
By the way, how many Hall of Fames are you in?
None. I hope I make it my college someday.
I'm not in the Hall of Fame either. You know what it is? When you're just mediocre in your career, you can make a decent living, but you never get recognized. And I think I'm starting to realize at this point in my career that it is what it is. Mediocre.
I think you're above average, but that's okay.
I'm mid.
Wow, you want?
Go ahead, call me Clowny. You're all right. I'm just mid. I'm just the joker before and after the games. That's what I am. As I say,
want to puke.
Just the guy taking your phone calls after the game. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest here for Hot Take Tuesday is entering his second Hall of Fame in like 2 years. How is this possible?
Well, I'll tell you what, Hall of Shame after my call last night, but Hall of Fame for Cedar Rapids, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I am very, I'm honored. It's been fun. Yeah.
Cedar Rapids Hall of Baseball, Cedar Rapids Baseball Hall of Fame. When were you there?
93, 4, and 5, man. You were just doing your thing at 21 years old, man. 93, 4, and 5 in Cedar Rapids. 3 years.
What was your last year of college baseball?
My last year of college ball?
Yeah.
At Laverne?
Yeah.
I was terrible. I was
matter.
I don't know. It was one of those, 1989, I think. That was awful.
So this was like almost fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Johnny D.
Yeah.
How was Cedar Rapids?
It was
single, young.
Oh man, it wasn't bad. I'll tell you, that was not terrible. It really wasn't.
Small towns in the right scenario can be right weather. I mean,
Towny Singoldowski had some lettuce too. Singoldowski had some lettuce.
Singoldowski had blonde locks. Looked like he should have been on Baywatch.
All right, settle.
Hey, don't kid yourself. From my time of doing I did SaberCats for many years. I did the San Jose Rhinos roller hockey. I made it around minor league towns for years. Don't kid yourself. You can get into trouble in some of these towns.
Did you do Modesto?
No, I did San Jose
Giants.
Giants.
You did Giants. Okay, but you called. I remember saying you called Tejada's
when Johnny first big leagued me in the Cal League.
Oh, and then you got me back in 2012.
Oh, I knew what I was doing. I'm like that. So who were you? Were you Lancaster or where were you?
High Desert.
The High Desert Mavericks.
Yeah.
When I was there, Mark Davis, the old closer, was trying to come back in his career.
That's right.
And I remember going Adelante County. I'm like, we're close to the Mojave Desert, right?
Yeah.
Like it literally was 8,000 degrees. You're playing next to the Mojave Desert. They're not even around anymore, right?
No, they went extinct. But I'll tell you what, I remember Mark Davis making that comeback. He was 36 years old. That's amazing. You remember that, 1997. He's making a comeback. But they gave us a AAA team in A-ball, and they steamrolled. High Desert steamrolled, won the whole thing in 97. At Travis Lee, all those guys. So
yeah.
That's
it's amazing the stuff that I remember. It just shows the concussions haven't got me yet. They will catch me.
Right.
It will be. So you went in last year to the Sacramento Baseball Hall of Fame. This year you're going into the Cedar Rapids Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
When is that?
August 28th. So they moved it from 29th to the 28th. My 28th is an off day, so I'm not going to miss a game. 28th, August 28th. Remember our 160.5. So August 28th, I'm gonna go on the off day and come back and do the game August 29th.
And you're going in with Nate Colbert, who's one of the great power hitters in the history of the game.
How about that?
If you don't know, Nate Colbert he was pre-me in San Diego. Nate Colbert was the all-time leader in home runs for years with the Padres. He played back in old Jack Murphy Stadium, and back when they didn't have the smaller fence, you had to hit it into the Charger seats back in the day.
Yeah, man. Those classic Padre teams, man. That's crazy. Remember that?
Really bad brown uniforms. Good.
Yes.
Buddy. Yeah.
Yep.
That was pre-me. All right. Or I was a real little kid. I don't remember that. All right. Who's going first? Hot Take Tuesday.
We haven't played the Open in a while. I haven't really updated, but
Every once in a while, you hear a really good sports hot take.
Mark this and remember what I told you.
If you're going to be
The
showing the guns,
Yankees
you gotta have
will
the
not
tank.
win the World Series.
The Astros will go 17-8 in the month of June, which will propel them to pretty close to a top the AL West.
Paul Skeens will pitch in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game this season.
Then you hear some really bad hot takes.
The St. Louis Cardinals are going to win the NL Central. Book it.
Angel Hernandez retiring is bad for baseball.
Aaron Judge will not record a hit this weekend against the A's.
Oh, first pitch.
Well, on A's Cast Live, all takes are hot takes. It's time for Hot Takes Tuesday with Chris Townsend, only on A's Cast Live.
I'm going to start today. I'm going to say Chris Carey, A's broadcaster, is the only pasty white Floridian you'll ever see. How is a guy who grew up a Florida guy? You're a Floridian, right? When you grew up in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
How are you the only guy without a tan?
Oh, so that's how it's going to be.
I'm just saying.
In the immortal words of two-time Hall of Famer Johnny Doskow, that makes you feel good on the inside.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I mean, I've been attacking you guys all day. I might as well just keep rolling.
Hey, listen. Just because I look like I got off the set of the fifth Twilight film doesn't mean that I don't have feelings. And look,
are you a vampire?
I am. Apparently I have all of the appeal of a vampire.
Is there not a pool at this hotel in Tampa you guys are staying at?
There is. I had to get some work done, and usually in dark areas. But after what 15 days, I'll have 15 days at home after this series. So the next time you see me, I'm taking it to heart. I'm going to be a little more tan.
I was waiting for you to say, "What are you busy with work? You only call 3 innings."
Oh, that I would never.
That's what you always say.
I've never said that. I have never said I got to work 5 hours a day and you call 3 innings. I have never said that once.
He's never said that publicly on air.
How dare you say that, Commander Cody? As I'm up till midnight taking phone calls from Greg and Slow.
What's cracking?
We're already at the bar in Tampa.
Did I hear his kid wanting their flag football team 44-19? Is that the newest score?
Talking about self-indulgent. By the way, quickly, both of you guys can answer this. What do you Steinbrenner Field? We've only ever seen it. Spring training games on MLB Network. What's the vibe, the atmosphere? What are you guys seeing?
I tell you what, they were loud. They're boisterous here. They sold it out. They're into it here, aren't they?
Dude, what I experienced, I think Johnny wanted to kick me out of the booth because I started to have some energy. I mean, the crowd was rising with every crack of the bat, every time, a strike came in. This was one of the most unique environments I've ever called a baseball game in, and one that I won't soon forget. And I have a feeling that it's just only going to continue as this Rays team continues to get better. And I know that they were your pick to win the American League East, and with a crowd like this behind them and an environment like this, this feels really, really, really cool. And they've shown up in Tampa.
Yeah. Well, people have always said they got to get the team over to Tampa. That's where all the fans are, obviously.
Yeah.
They're pro sports team. You got hockey there. You got the NFL there. That's where it needs to be. But thank you, Chris. Do you have a hot take? Or did I just bring you into it?
No, I could do a hot take.
Quickly, we got to go quick. All right, lead us off. What's your hot take?
Max Schumann is going to have 2 extra base hits today, including his 2nd homer of the year.
Ooh, he calls a dinger too. All right, Johnny, what do you
got? Take? It's going to be a very interesting one, and it involves kind of smacking down on myself a little bit. I'm going to make this hot take. Colby Thomas, not Soderstrom, but Colby Thomas will have an outfield assist today, and he'll also have a home run today in his debut. Home run, outfield assist, and Chris Carey's going to call the outfield assist, so we have no worries. So that is my hot take today. Colby Thomas will have a debut to remember, starting debut to remember.
By the way, no one's even mentioned and has any idea what you're talking about.
Good. That's just it's all for us anyway. It's all for us.
So you're going to say, his first time in the starting lineup.
Yes.
He's going to have an outfield assist.
Yep.
And what?
A home run.
And a dinger.
Yep.
Did that not remind you last night of Eric Burns?
Exactly. The way he threw it.
Totally.
I mean, he's got Burns in him, but almost more control than Burns. It's weird. It's like because they got that football in him, right? It's like, oh.
Yeah, I'm wondering, can he play center?
What's that?
Can he play center field?
We got our center fielder.
I agree, Johnny. Defensively.
Got to hit.
But you got to hit. Like
he can play center. He can play center in a pinch, but he's more of a corner guy. But he played a little bit of center this year in AAA.
Can he start pitching too?
No.
Okay. All right. Hot take there, Commander.
Seems like we're all saying in the A's realm, and I will.
Oh my God, this is all. I am not in the A's realm.
Well, mine's more minor league related, but Gage Jump being in the Futures game with Tommy White, Tommy Tanks. That's cool to see Gage White shooting through the A's system. Gage Jump will be the talk of the Futures game in Atlanta.
Is that a take?
Seriously, it's not as bad as the Red Sox may be better without Devers.
Meaning he'll be the star of the Futures game.
So just say he's going to be the Futures game MVP then. That's a take.
Yes. Yeah, Shea Langoliers won it.
Thank you. The Floridian steps in and saves the day.
Shea Langoliers won it a few years ago. So, yeah, we know about the MVP here.
All right. I'm going to
What do you got, Towny?
What time do we have to get to Jump? Do I have to go quick?
You got about 2 minutes.
Okay. The number 1 pitcher traded at the deadline is going tonight. He's got 2 years left before a mutual option. Enjoy him as a Texas Ranger because he will be down the stretch pitching for somebody else. Jacob deGrom, I guarantee you, will be traded at the deadline and play a major factor in getting a team to the postseason and in the postseason.
Wow.
I like that.
That's great.
The Texas Rangers will be Walker. Texas Ranger is not walking through that door, baby. Jacob deGrom will be the biggest pitcher traded at the deadline.
Oh, I like it.
That's almost in a month.
All right, Towny.
Thank you, Ken Korak. How you like that, John? And by the way, deGrom is 8-1 with a 1.58 ERA in his last 11 starts.
He's ridiculous.
Texas needs to rebuild. Why pay him that money? Teams are going to be calling. Severino, we know, has a chance to be dealt here. But, I mean, you can get Jacob deGrom. Hey, by the way, a healthy Jacob deGrom with a new arm, a fixed arm.
Yeah.
He's got the brace. He's got the new he's got the most modern engine in his arm that you can have.
He does. I mean, that's a great call, man. He will help out. He will help a contender. I mean, look, he's one of the best. When he's going, he's the best in the game, right? So,
and maybe kind of like what the A's would have to deal with Severino. It's more about take the money. Because it's like $38 million and $37 million deGrom is owed. So if you're like Texas and you can reinvest that in your own young players or somewhere else, why would you not do that?
Yeah,
as long as somebody's will, because you got these teams. I mean, whether you just saw the Yankees, or you're talking about the Cubs, or you're talking about some of these teams to be like, "Hey, the Mets, just take the money, take them back. The Mets, take them back, take the money."
I can see the Cubs being a team. They're looking for a star pitcher.
Okay, so Chris Carey said Schumann, 2 hits, including a dinger today.
2 extra base hits.
2 extra base hits. Johnny,
don't change me.
You got, hey, Johnny, if it makes you feel any better, I called Colby Thomas. I keep calling him Colby Lewis from the Ranger days.
Oh, good. Good. Thank you.
By the way, Chris Carey, Robert Pattinson is now Batman. So if you're going to call yourself a Twilight character, you can become Batman one day as well.
Robert Pattinson is a phenomenal Batman, and we're going to have out about this later.
The Twilight thing's actually kind of funny.
Yes,
like,
it
you're
is.
A vampire
it
now.
It is.
All right, so Colby Thomas does an assist and a dinger. You just think that people will talk about Gabe Jump after the Futures game? Gage Jump after the Futures game?
Because he's going to be the MVP.
Oh, you really didn't say MVP.
Nice hot take, Cody.
Yeah.
And deGrom being traded.
deGrom will be traded. deGrom is going to be the biggest name of any pitcher traded. As I said last year, no big name would get traded. I'm reversing, and I was right. Now I'm reversing roles. A huge name, Jacob deGrom being. Johnny, if I'm a team and I get deGrom at the deadline, aren't you like, wow?
I like your chances. Yeah, a contender. Yes,
Johnny. Yes. I love you, and we tease in the clubhouse.
We tease because we care. I know.
Tease because we care.
It's a little soon, but I get it. All right.
So that's what I always go. Is like my OJ jokes. Is that too?
All right, Johnny, have a good call tonight.
Too soon. Goodbye, Johnny. All right, Jack Perkins joined us earlier today here on A's Cast Live. Couldn't wait. He's the future of the Athletics, coming out of the bullpen now, but we know this guy is going to be starting for years. Here is Jack Perkins. Well, A's fans, I know we've all been waiting to hear from Jack Perkins. We've been waiting for him to come up and pitch in the big leagues. He's finally here, and we finally have him on A's Cast Live. How are you?
Doing good. It's been an awesome ride so far.
Come on, man. Your journey right now, you get called up, you get into a game. Next thing you know, you're out on a road trip, and it's Yankee Stadium. Just what has this journey been like for you?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I thought we had it pretty good in Vegas. We have a pretty good setup at our AAA, but then you come up to the big leagues, it's a whole new world. So, I mean, getting to go on my first road trip pretty much immediately after getting called up, it's been awesome.
What was the call-up like with Fran Reardon down in Las Vegas?
Oh, it was great. I was actually eating our post-game meal, and he's like, "Hey, Perk, come to my office." And usually, when that happens, something's going on. So my heart started to beat pretty quickly. But then I walk in, it's Mark McGuire. It's both my pitching coaches, Don Schulze, Paul Abbott, our hitting coaches, Fran. So I just kind of walked into a swarm of people, but he was telling me, hey, it's pretty cool. Me and Mark were talking before the game, and you guys are gonna have something in common. And I'm like, me and Mark McGuire, like I'm a pitcher, I'm not a hitter. And he's like, yeah, well, you both are gonna be able to say you played for the Athletics. So awesome moment. It was great to have everyone there, and especially Paul Abbey's been with me the last 2 years, working on lots of stuff, trying to get here, and so just a surreal moment. Don Scholze, he was my high A pitching coach. He's now the bullpen coach up in AAA. So just a surreal moment, and it was really cool.
Yeah, when I read about that and I heard Mark McGuire was in the room, I'm like, this is a big deal. No, what a great moment that you'll always have. And I always like to ask guys, because you grow up wanting to do this. You get drafted by the Athletics. You're coming up to the big leagues. You're the 39th guy out of the University of Indiana. Not talking Bobby Knight and hoops. We're talking baseball, the Hoosiers. You get called up. Everybody has that moment when they're like, oh my, you know what? I'm in the big leagues. And for so many different guys, I get different answers. What was that moment that you realized it hit you like, wow, I'm in Major League Baseball and I'm finally living out my dream?
Yeah, honestly, I think Yankee Stadium, Aaron Judge walks into the box and it's like, whoa, I mean, this is arguably the best player in the last 10 years or even longer. But honestly, just his presence, it's one of those people that you see in the box, and for the most part, I'm trying just to look at the catcher and whatnot. I think I got 2-0 on him or something, and I threw a really good sweeper that I thought was a really good pitch, but to him, it's still like 8 inches down, and I'm like, holy cow, this guy is huge. But then just on top of that, the fans are going crazy. You have 60,000 people screaming their heads off, wanting Judge to hit a home run off of you. So yeah, I mean, it's just a super cool. Yankee Stadium was awesome, but to get to face Judge this early from being called up was pretty awesome.
It's what a memory, right? I mean, yeah, he's that guy's going to be in Cooperstown someday, and you're facing him in Yankee Stadium. This is, when we try and tell people, this is what you've dreamed about. It's what you've always wanted. And now your dreams are coming true. For most people, that doesn't happen. For you, I'm so happy for you. Just talk about that. Where like, today it's going to be the Rays and you're playing. It's going to be beautiful in Tampa. I mean, it's just your dreams are right in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's growing up, you always dream of it. You always think it's a possibility, especially you get to college and then you get drafted. But even then, it still seems a little far-fetched. It still seems like I got a ways to go before I'm a big leaguer. So yeah, just this journey's been wild for me, lots of ups and downs, injuries, transferring schools, lots of different things. But I think it's all built me into the person and the player that I am in terms of my maturity, my perseverance, my faith. And it's allowed me to be ready for this moment when I got here. And that's honestly been my prayer for the last few years is, whenever I do get here, I want to make sure that I'm ready to be here and I can make a statement and help this team win when that time comes.
Well, we all learn from adversity. We all do. And how do you grow from adversity? And obviously you have been able to do that now that you're in the big leagues, and we're kind of seeing this role. I've always thought this role is very pivotal, especially since we see bullpens pitching more innings than ever before in the history of baseball. Is, starters aren't going to go deep. And of course you want to be long-term, you want to be a starter, but somebody's got to come in and get these innings from the starters to Mason Miller. And so to Mason Miller. So just talk about this role as a starter. You're coming in as a reliever, but you're really asked to still be like a starter.
Yeah. It's different than what I've done the last few years in the minors for sure, but I'm no stranger to it. I pitched in relief in the fall league. My junior year at Louisville, I was a reliever. So I have some experience with it, enough to at least have a base for a routine and how to get ready for these situations. But like you said, they're pivotal. And then now being up here, seeing, how often we play, how many games, there's very few off days. So a guy like myself being able to go in and eat up 2, 3, maybe 4 innings, save the bullpen, like that helps your team get through a series. It helps your leverage relievers, your closers like Mason be ready when those situations present themselves. So, I'm really excited for it. I'm here to do whatever I can to help this team win. And, right now it's hopefully to put up zeros and eat up as many innings as I can.
Yeah, I bet you never thought you'd have a save before a win in the big leagues.
Yeah, honestly, no, I didn't even realize it was a save until I was walking off the field and Kotze, he gave me a hug. He's like, "Hey, just so you know, that was your first big league save as well." And I was like, "Oh, all right."
I always talk about how, for starters, you guys are creatures of habit, what you do on game day, and then really what you do in between starts, how you work out, when you lift, when you throw, when you run, what you eat. You guys are such creatures of habit. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to take all that away. I'm going to send you in the bullpen. And now the phone rings in the bullpen. It's like, hey, Jack, get up. I need you ready in 12 pitches. It's like such a different world starting to relieving. So how have you kind of scratched all your routines and said, you know what, this is what I got to do to make it happen in the big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, what I really love about our clubhouse, the veteran leadership that's in there, the guys who have been in this role, and like Mitch Spence is now starting, having guys like that you can pick their brain, see what worked for them, and add it into what you like to do. That's kind of been the constant conversation lately with Cuffy, our strength coach, with Emo, pitching coach, just figuring out what that routine looks like on a day-to-day basis, what work I need to get, when I need to get it. And really just kind of start ironing that out. Again, it's still early, only had a couple outings in, so still trying to figure out the fine details of that. But I think just being open and honest about how you feel, what you need, and just constantly having that communication with the guys around you.
And how about attacking hitters? Because as a starter, you don't want to show everybody everything early because you want to save something for when you're seeing these guys a second and third time. So it's different how you attack hitters versus you come in. You don't know how long you're going to go. You got to throw the kitchen sink at Aaron Judge and everybody else when you come out of the pen. What has that been like for you, making that adjustment to where you're throwing everything at somebody now versus how you would do it as a starter?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like my mentality as a starter has kind of translated to me as a long relief guy. Like I've said it before, but I just want to be a bulldog out there. I want to come at you with my best stuff all the time, every pitch. So the mentality side of it for me really hasn't changed. I feel like regardless whether I was starting or in this relief role, like depending on the situation, I'm just going to choose the best pitch for that spot and throw it with the most conviction and confidence that I can. Just because, I feel like with my stuff, as long as I'm on the attack, as long as I'm the aggressor, as long as I'm on offense, my stuff plays, and I just have to keep that same mentality. It doesn't matter if Aaron Judge is in the box. It doesn't matter who's in the box. I have to trust myself in these different situations. So it hasn't been too big of a change mentally or, from a mentality standpoint, but I definitely think as we go along, as hitters start to learn my stuff and different things, like I'm definitely going to have to start utilizing the curveball, utilizing the changeup, along with the fastball cutter sweeper that I've thrown so far.
All right, you make your debut in California, but then you head back to the Midwest, Detroit. Detroit's kind of Midwest, East Coast, and then to New York City. So wife, family, anybody following you around on this road trip?
Yeah, my parents and wife were able to make it out to the debut in SAC, and then heading back to Detroit, that's when a lot of family, friends, a lot of people were able to come out and see me in Detroit. So that's been super cool. It's great to see the support and, all the people that have supported me since, I was 10, 11 years old playing rec league baseball, reach out. And I mean, it's honestly amazing just to see that and have everybody reach out. It's been awesome.
I got to tell you, a lot of fans have been waiting for you. We've been talking about you down there in the minor leagues and following your journey. And now we get to see your journey up close up here in the big leagues. I have a feeling there will be that time where you're going to start a lot of games for this organization, but you filled in greatly in this role. I think of yourself. I think if JT Ginn's done the same thing. I see both of you guys, though, being in this rotation for a long time. But, hey, thank you so much for your time today before the game coming on A's Cast Live, and we hope to have you on this show a lot more.
Absolutely. Thank you, Towny.
Jack, you be well, my friend. We'll see you in Sacramento.
Will do. Thank you.
Here's the pitch, and it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, now 7 years in a row. Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford, in the Folsom Auto Mall.
This has been a presentation of The Athletic.